Okay, about to start this video. Let me get a shirt first. I just woke up. I'm gonna get it going. Jacob freaking Trouba, boys and girls. Jacob freaking Trouba. This is going to be my shirt of choice. I'm gonna be wearing my Book shirt this video. I got to clean this shit off. Get all this junk out of here. Okay, I literally rolled out of bed, put my phone down, click record, and now here we are. Ugh. Glasses are gross. I miss my contacts. Jacob freaking Trouba. All right. No, glasses are coming off. I can't stand them. They're so dirty. I should probably just clean them. We got Jacob Trouba. I can't believe it. You know, the way people were talking and saying how he was valued, whether it be an insider or speculators or this, that, and the other thing, I figured Trouba was going to be this guy, a first in Pionk. And we got him for a first in Pionk and nothing else. So, yes. So, I'm not, there's literally 0 point in me diving into this trade because no matter what way you look at it, we stole the guy. We really stole the guy. We got a top pairing defenseman for a first round pick that wasn't ours to begin with. And a bottom pairing defenseman with potential of being a top 4 guy at some point in his career. I forgot who posted it, but this is going like a while back, but I was looking at Neil Pionk's defensive numbers, and he had like the second lowest breakups per zone entries in the entire NHL. Second least. So we're not losing sleep over, Neil Pionk. I guess the only thing we'd really lose sleep over is if the first round pick that we traded back to Winnipeg becomes some superstar. But even at that, hindsight is 2020. Right now, the best move for us was to get Jacob Trouba to accelerate his rebuild. And we did that. So yeah, so what it's going to come down to right now, we got $19 million in cap space. It's all going to come down. Oh, actually, you know what? When the cap's going to go up to around 83 million. So look at it more like we have $22 million in cap space. And with that, actually, what is this compensating for? What does this have? Okay, never mind. So the upper limit on cap friendly is already set to 83 million. Okay, so we have $19 million in cap space. Let's go ahead and say we signed Jacob Trouba. Oh, this is another thing too. This is a point I'm gonna have to dive into at some point. We still have to sign the guy. And until he signs like a long-term extension with the Rangers, I really think that his heart is still at home. I really do think he wants to go back to Michigan. So I want to be in Detroit where he's from. Now, I could be very wrong about that, and I really hope I am, and I hope he signs long-term here because Jacob Trouba is a stud, and getting him long-term would be sick. I mean, him and Brady Shea, great friends. So that would be nice. But let's just say we signed Trouba. Let's just pretend 8 years, $7.5 million. So that number goes down to another Rangers got $12.5 million. Let's allocate $4.5 million to Buchnevich. So now we're down to $8 million in cap space. Let's say $3 million to D'Angelo, which is a gross overestimate. $5 million in cap space. And another $2.5 to Lemieux. So now we have $2.5 million in cap space. So when it's all said and done, when everyone's signed and locked up, our own guys at least, $2.5 million in cap space. Not really Panarin money. And now this is kind of what I was talking about in the last video, where if we sign Panarin, I'd be in a great mood. If we don't, I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it. Now, if we went to the Islanders, the Devils, or a Metropolitan team, I'd be pretty upset. But if he goes out to the West, something like that, I really wouldn't lose sleep over it. Especially because, right now we have $2.5 million in cap space, and we're still technically in the rebuild. In 2 years, we've got to sign Hedl, Anderson, Howden, Hayek, Georgiev, and all those other guys I previously mentioned. When all their contracts are up, it's going to be a different story. Granted, Lundqvist, Shaddy, Stahl, and Smith, that's like $20 million coming off the books right there. But there's so much that's going to happen between then. I'm so in the back of my mind looking at and thinking of keeping the guys we have now and continuing this homegrown rebuild versus bringing in free agents. Like for the longest time, the Rangers teams were products of trades and bringing in free agents. Like our top tier players were always brought in via trade or free agency. We really didn't have a lot of homegrown talent that was to that next level. And the only argument you can make is maybe Ryan McDonough, but then again, that's a guy you brought in from a trade. Chris Kreider was never a top tier outside. He was always a top 6 forward. He never was like a first line 40 goal scorer like Marian Gaborik and Rick Nash were. Like we haven't had guys that we drafted grew through our system and become studs in our system. And I think guys like Hedel, Anderson, Kravtsov, Brady Shea, Keandre Miller, Nils Lundqvist, those can be those guys. Shesterkin and Georgiev, those could be those guys. So I would love to hold on to them, and part of holding on to them is making sure we have enough money to keep them on the team. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Actually, we have more like $3.5 million. I forgot we were gonna send down Matt Bolesky. Was not accounting for that. Yeah, but I mean, if we do want to make that push for Panarin and things we could do, we could trade Vlad Nemestikov, which again I really wouldn't be against. No, I know Nemestikov in a way had a comeback season last year. Now, by no means was he like 20-goal, 40-point guy we got from Tampa Bay, but you're not going to expect that even for playing with Stamkos and Kucherov to third-line minutes. He had 30 points and 11 goals, but not for nothing. If you can trade him and his $4 million cap hit and get back like a second or a third-round pick, that's a good trade. That's a good trade. You open up cap space and you open up a roster spot for the young guys, and I'm not against that at all. A guy like Ryan Strome, I want to keep. Excuse me. Sorry, I just rolled out of bed, remember. A guy like Ryan Strome, I like to keep, maybe like a fourth-line center, especially because he's an RFA next year. So it's not like we're losing him for free agency for nothing next year. So if we can keep Ryan Strome, I am wholeheartedly for that. 33 points in 63 games with the Rangers last year, 18 goals, 19 goals last year. He's basically a 20-goal scorer, the highest of his career. Yeah. 19 goals last year, 19 goals and 35 points, career high in goals. So I have nothing against keeping this guy, especially as a fourth-line center. If you squeeze him on the third line, maybe bump him up the lineup every now and again. There's nothing wrong with Ryan Strome. He went from a top 5 pick with high offensive upside to a really, really solid bottom 6, maybe even top 9 two-way forward that can play in all scenarios. And I honestly, I'm very happy with that Ryan Strome trade and the way it turned out. Jimmy Vesey, maybe hold on to him till the deadline. You never know. He's coming in on his 4th year in the league now, right? Is that what he's going to be at? Yeah, his 4th year in the league. Last year, he broke out and went from 27 to 28 and to 35 points. Goals kind of stay the same, but honestly, to be paying a guy $2.5 million to be putting in between 15 and 20 goals and getting between 25 and 35 points, for $2.5 million, is really not that bad. It's not. I think the problem is with Jimmy Vesey is that when we first got him, we had such high expectations for him that seeing these seasons, which are quality seasons for what he's being paid, we look at him like, oh, he sucks. But those are quality seasons considering what we're paying him for. And the fact that we signed him at the age of 23 and at the age of 18. He was basically, as a human being, almost physically peaked in terms of natural growth versus supplemented growth. By that I mean forcing yourself to work out versus your body naturally growing whether you work out or not. So I think we should be impressed with that. So that's Jimmy Vesey. That's my 2 cents on Jimmy Vesey. I wouldn't mind keeping him, to tell you the truth. We're paying him $2.275 million a year, and the guy got us 17 goals and 35 points. I don't know why anybody complains. Granted, he has moments where you're like, how the fuck didn't he score that? But I don't know. I don't think people should be as upset at Vesey as they are. I just think people want a reason to complain, to tell you the truth. And they're upset that everyone made such a big deal about the guy, but he was never, even when he was a free agent, he was never touted to be like a first-line winger to score you 40 goals a season. He never was that. He was always a top 9 winger to get you between 15 and 25 goals a year. That was well known. The problem was, and the reason why he was slated so high and so many teams wanted him, was because the second you signed him, you knew he'd make an NHL impact. And that's why everyone was so in on him, because you're getting an already NHL player on an entry-level deal. It's all about the money. And Vesey, when we first got him that first year, he actually didn't even do that bad in the playoffs, right? Yeah, he had 5 points in 12 playoff games. What are you going to complain about? The guy was playing basically 4 minutes at that point. Now, in terms of our defense, because our defense is yikes, I am still 150,000% against buyouts. And if we look at what we're doing on our defense next year, right now we've got Shaddy, Stahl, Shea, Smith, Fox, Hayek, Trouba. I'm not going to count Clayson because I think he's going to be gonzo. D'Angelo, that's 8. Rykov, Lindgren, arguably Tarmo Reunanen. I think I pronounced that right. So that's 11. You can make a case for Brandon Crowley to take a run at the roster. I won't even count him, to tell you the truth. I hope we just DFA or just release Chris Biggers because he sucks. And Joey Keane. So let's just say we got 12 guys. Let's say 12 guys we got basically that are going to be fighting for an NHL spot. So that's double what we have right now. I'm against buyouts, but right now we have assets. We have a lot of assets. We had 100 picks, got 100 prospects. We got roster players we can attach to them. Find a trade partner for Smith and Stahl. I don't care if you have to retain half of their salaries at the point. It's about opening up the roster spot without having to pay them for 4 years. So if you could eat half of their salary and attach an asset to them, get rid of them now. There's no reason for a buyout. I said it in the last video. In the next 3 years, I'm not going to round them off again because there's a lot of young guys and important guys we have to sign in the next 3 years. Why pay Smith and Stahl for 4 years? Get rid of them now if you can. Or if not, friggin' bury them. As long as they're not taking away time from young players. But in the best case scenario, in the absolute most blessed scenario in the world, our top 6 next year for defense, you got Shea, Trouba on your top pair. After that, I want to see either Hayek or Lindgren with Shattenkirk or D'Angelo. And then the third pair, I want to see Fox and what's left of Shaddy and D'Angelo. Those should be your top 6 next season. Now, with that, you leave out Lindgren. Rykov, Reunanen, and Joey Keane and all them. And that's okay. That's all right. Joey Keane's only 19. Reunanen is going to be his first year in North America. Or is it? I'm pretty sure it is. I don't remember where he played last year. I think he played in Europe. Yeah, he was playing in the Liga. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So let him get adjusted to the A. Rykov, same thing. Let him get adjusted in the AHL. Kid's only 22 years old. He's still going to be solid. And then after that, when then you make more decisions after that. But again, I like Shea, Trouba, either Hayek or Fox on the second pair with Shaddy or D'Angelo, and then whoever's left of the other 2 on the third pair. And if you run those as your top 6, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. But yeah, that's really it. Sorry for not getting back to the comments on the last video. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and comment on this video. I'll see if I can get back to you. Sorry. Been working a lot lately, hence the yawning. But thank you everybody for watching. And if you understood everything I just said, you do not need hearing aids. I'll see you guys in the next one. Off season in full swing, guys. I'm hella excited. Let's keep it going. Adios.